I'm beginning to hear a hush in the room. It must mean it's Silicon Dragon time. Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca Fannin. I'm the founder and editor and author of Silicon Dragon. We are now in our 4th year of holding events like this, venture capital and technology innovation events in Hong Kong, in Beijing, Shanghai, London, New York, Silicon Valley, and just recently Sydney as well. So if you are interested in our programs going forward, please make sure you leave a business card in the bowl at the registration table. And I'd like to say a few words also about our membership network. We have a Silicon Dragon Circle. And if you join the Silicon Dragon Circle, it means that you get special invitations to events, to private events, and you also get a book, a copy of StartupAsia, my second book, and you get discounts to events going forward. So I would encourage you to sign up for the Silicon Dragon Circle and join our network, our growing network globally. We are going to be presenting our Silicon Dragon Awards this evening. These awards are for the VC Deal of the Year and also for the Top Entrepreneur of the Year. This is for the Greater China region. We have also presented these awards in Beijing and in Shanghai as well. KPMG is a proud sponsor of these awards. And you can find more on our website about the past award winners. Our website address is silicondragonventures.com. We also publish a regular newsletter which documents a number of our events and also gives you a gauge on the Asia deal flow, who's being funded, at what price, and we also share a number of our videos through this newsletter and our website as well. I would like to thank our sponsors for this event. This is our 4th year in Hong Kong, as I mentioned. Besides KPMG as a sponsor for our award series, I'd also like to thank Morrison & Forster. They're our exclusive legal sponsor for this evening. And I would like to thank Invest Hong Kong, which is represented well here tonight as well. And I'd like to thank Cyberport. Cyberport has a wonderful digital creative team, and they're going to be doing a live video of this program tonight. So you can catch the videos later if you happen to fall asleep, which I hope you don't. They'll also be doing photos as well. So without further ado, I think I heard a champagne bottle over there. that means it's awards time. I would like to present the award for our VC Deal of the Year, and I'd like to welcome Ed Zarella, who's a partner and the client's innovation partner here from KPMG, to help us present the award. And we have okay, and we need a mic for you as well. You mic'd up? You are? Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. Great. All right. Now, this may not be too surprising of who the winner is for this evening. How many people want to take a guess? Nobody. Okay. Well, the award for VC Deal of the Year goes to Richard Liu, Managing Director of Morningside Ventures. This is...
Oh, that's Penny for my back flight to Shanghai. Very good. Well done, Richard. Thank you.
Yeah, and did you want to show your...
So this one?
Oh. All right, let's get a nice photo op here.
One more.
Richard.
Thank you.
Well done.
Okay. And as an award winner, he has the privilege of being interviewed by me. So, okay. So, Richard, I took some notes before we came up stage here about the progress of your deal making, and I think it's. I'd like to read a few things, a few facts about Richard's career as a VC deal maker. Richard is a. Thank you. Now you know who we are. Richard seems to have a real knack for finding great deals at a very early stage in China. And he's not only a lead investor in Chinese social networking service YY, which went public on NASDAQ a year ago, but he's also the lead investor in Xiaomi. And it's for both of these deals that Richard is here today to tell us a little bit more about why he made these investments and how well they're doing. But I was amazed to learn that he's got a 50% return, 50 times return on the Chinese social networking service YY after its IPO a year ago on NASDAQ. Morningside has a almost 20% share in YY. And beyond that, it also is the first, second, and third round investor in Xiaomi. And I guess everybody knows what Xiaomi is, right? The Chinese smartphone that is taking China by storm and maybe someday may go global. But Richard, I mean, here's two really great deals that you've done, YY and Xiaomi. How do you find these deals? What's your secret?
Well, that's very typical LP questions. Just finished our annual meeting yesterday, 2 days ago, so I just repeat all my answers. I think there's no secret, But if there's some, the approach, I think there are very high level, three things very important for us. First, you need build up your knowledge base and try to identify the next, the big trend for the 3 and 5 years. You need to make that predictions. We have our top-down, the sector research, and for sometimes, we just observe one particular subsector for maybe 2 years, 3 years, but we don't have chance to make any deal. But when some deal just pop up in that sector, we can very quickly make the decision, given we have that knowledge base. So first, try to be patient, and as the early stage venture, you have to have the vision by yourselves. When you have that vision, when some the great entrepreneur comes to you, you can have very easily can mutually inspire each other. So first thing is the big trend. The second trend, as the second point is that the how to make the right judgment on the timing line. When we review our failure case in the early days, I joined the Morningside since the year in the year 2000, and we made a lot of mistakes. We make a lot of failure case in the early time. But what we learn is that sometimes we bet on the right trend, right sector, and we bet too early. So basically, you cannot survive until when the whole sector take off, you already die. So how to find out the right timing is very difficult for the early stage ventures. The last point, but the most important thing is people. We actually have our own, the way to identify and screen and try to bet on the right type of entrepreneur. Basically we want to bet, the great leaders with very ambition, with the vision, and that his vision, we can share his vision, we can mutually inspire each other. And that guy is not just the manager, he should be the great leader. has very strong leadership, and he can really build up a great team. And also, he can have very sharp, the strategic thinking. And from that angle, not every entrepreneur is perfect, but actually we know his type, and we can sometimes give them some, the coach and the mentor. Or sometimes if he's the first-year entrepreneur, you actually don't need to do too much things. You just, they be some kind of, the mental supporter for him. Trust me, entrepreneur is very lonely, very, very lonely. And he has no friends at all. So we try to be his friends, and we be the guy he can really trust. No matter how great they are and how bad they are, we can be supporter. So we have our own the comments that if he's the great entrepreneur, if we bet them and they fail, we want to bet them again. And if they fail again, we want to bet them 3 times. So that's something in our the methodology is the people is the most important thing, and make the judgment of timing to jump into the trend, and try to bet on the big things, not just small things. Our LP is very you cannot say they are greedy, but actually they are very high requirement on our multiples. So we want to bet something. Averagely, we hold a portfolio usually for 80 years. So you don't want to, 80 years later, they say, hey, we finish everything, but the return just 5 times. So we want to get at least, maybe over 10 times, 20 times, even 50 times, 100 times. So that's our, the home run for us.
So how important is Li Jun to a particular deal to you? I think Li Jun has been involved with both YY and Xiaomi. Is that a factor that you take into account, and how much does it contribute?
Well, actually, I think a lot of people know we maybe in the VC world. I guess James definitely know that. Actually, we had 8 co-investments with Li Jun. But maybe not so many people know. I also have 4 co-investments with Zhou Hongyi, and we also have I think maybe 2 or 3 co-investments with Bob Xu, who is the co-founder of New Oriental as well. So we want to tell you the message is simple, is that because we have been in this industry for over 15 years. So we have very strong, the connection with all kinds of, the great guy in this industry. But I mean, coincidentally, I think, the Li Jun is also very strong, the super angel. That's why, the hit rate we jointly make it together is relatively high. So for example, like Zhou Hongyi, we co-invest in, the Xunlei. It's also, the well-known deal as well in the market. So I think first is we have very good connection with those, the super angel. This first. Second thing is, Li Jun, when he decided to become, the full-time and very active, the super angel, I think that's in the year 2007 or 2008. I think it's 2007, because he quit his CEO job from the Kingsoft, and we had a very long dialogue in Shanghai. I remember that, and he told me he decided to shift more his energy in the angel investment. Initially, I don't think we expect we can have so many the co-investment together. But I mean, obviously he tried to build up the connection with not only Morningside but also all kind of the VCs. I guess including some the GP in this room as well. I think he also had very good connection with them as well. But I mean, the why we have so many overlap, because maybe we share a lot of things in common, especially in the early stage. The deal like YY or Xiaomi or UC Web, I don't think that in the very early day that's hot deal. That's very you can say that's crazy decision when you make end mine in that early stage. Like Xiaomi, actually, when we discussed this idea, that's the almost one night, 12-hour phone conversation. We had that conversation. that's really crazy. You want to do some smartphone, and you need to compete with like the Huawei, Zhongxin, Legend, and HTC and Motorola. But I mean, I think the key is that both Lei Jun and I, we probably can really excited about some big vision, and we also not just see that trend, but also we have the down to earth, the review about the feasibility and how much chance you had, and from that angle, you cannot just bet on the idea. You got to have down to earth to some kind of strategy, and also we call the 0 to 1 process, 1 to 10, 10 to 100. If you divide each the phase, you need to very focus on 0 to 1. What's the growth path you can identify to help you achieve the milestone, and that milestone can give you the credit and create the positive networking effect, and help them to secure the second round of financing. In Xiaomi case, I think it's very tough. I mean, in the first round, second round, third round, we are the leading investor. For each round, I tell you, the decision making is very tough because no revenue at all. The last round, the third round we commit, the valuation is already $1 billion. Our LP want to kill me, say, how are you crazy? You want to bet this deal without any revenue? Without even at that time, we just have the company has launched the product in the press release, but we didn't see the hardware at all. So, but actually, if you look at each round, we have our own to make the judgment on the risk profile and the risk reward, and we believe this is something. If they are be successful, that definitely is the big deal. And for each round, we know what did they already deliver, what did they already proved, but something still moving forward. What's the risk there? So we have our way to justify that risk taking. That's why we got deal in Xiaomi, in YY, in UC Web, several the co-investment with Lei Jun as well. But not just Lei Jun. I think that's something we always keep that in our mind.
So Xiaomi is already the third largest smartphone maker in China. You got Samsung and the Apple and Xiaomi, and it has about a 5%, almost 5% market share in China of the smartphone makers. So I think that's just an amazing that it's only 2 years old and it's been able to do that. And the profits and the revenues are doubling as well. So it seems like your risk-taking bet has really paid off. What's the future for Xiaomi then? What's your ambition for the company?
Well, first I want to correct a little point. I don't think Xiaomi right now is already the top 3 player. You still have very large the company like Legend and Huawei and Zhongxin. But in terms of market share of the mobile internet users, you can say they are the ranked number 3 already. So they use small, the sales volume in the hardware, but they aggregate a very large group of active mobile internet users. So that's something we can say they already the number 3, but they will continue. But definitely the number 3 and number 2 still have large gap. We have long way to go, right? In terms of the next step, when we decide to make the decision to invest in Xiaomi, I want to recap several points. First, I don't think they are when we decide to invest that company, we invest in several disruptions. First, they are not the hardware company. We think their strategy very similar. So basically, in the mobile phone industry, there are 2 different the players. One type of player is hardware play, like Nokia, Motorola, the HTC. They are very the kind of the traditional mentality. I believe their strategy every board meeting in the annual meeting is that how many phones we can sell. But I mean another type of the player I think is ecosystem play. It's more like internet the mentalities. So all we focus on in the meeting with the management team in Xiaomi, how many users we can really generate, and how loyal they are, and how many time they can kill over our the platform, and how much traffic they can really generate that. from our the differentiate the solution, integrating the hardware and the software and application. So that's you are compete with others, not just how many phones you can sell. Basically, I mean how differentiate user experience you can generate by integrating the hardware, your the software, your OS level, and the content that you aggregate. So that's the key differentiation we have. So from that angle, you are not surprised that the company already launched the smartphone, but also the set-top box. They try to disrupt the TV, and also they just launched the TV in two months ago. So from that product, the expansion, you can see that this is not just hardware. We want to sell some for revenue. It is try to cover the user who are the individual and have your phone, but also you go back to your home, you enjoy the movie, enjoying the game with your family members. So that's the users we try to cover. So that's the first we continue move into that directions. And also above that users, you already I think Xiaomi already proved they can really offer some the differentiated user experience in the smartphone, in the TV. But in the future, we have to try to help and collaborate with different content and service provider, help them to be successful in the business in our ecosystem. So that's the big challenge moving forward. The last point is the globalization. I think the globalization is not. I think the direction not to go to the United States and Europe. This is not our first priority. But we have so large the emerging market like in India, Brazil, even Nigeria in Africa, Russia, Indonesia. They all have over 100 million population. So I think we have large potential in the future.
So you talked about the importance of timing on deals. So you were instrumental in setting up Morningside's China Venture Fund in 2008. Do you think you hit the timing right on that?
Well, definitely it is really bad timing when we decide to raise our fund in the financial crisis. But I mean that's also give us the good things that I learned from that process. When we decided to go outside for fundraising in the year 2008, I remember I had the business traveling in Zurich in Switzerland, and then I read the news on the newspaper say, hey, financial crisis happened in the United States. Well, we make the two decisions at that time. First, we decide to not waste our time to do fundraising. We got we are lucky we got support from our anchor LP. Initially, they decide to commit maybe 1/3 of total fund size, and that time they told us that if you guys really want to close the deal, so we basically got 1/3 from the anchor, 1/3 from the external. We want to take another 3 months to close the rest of 1/3. But our anchor is very good, very the board, and very confident about our the capability. They said we take the rest, we take the 2/3. So the first learning is that try to identify a great anchor LP. That will help you in the tough time. And also we anchor that we learn from that process that we want to be that kind of the venture firm in our portfolio level. So when they got the trouble, we want to be the guy, don't move out. Just you need to jump into that if you really feel they are great. The second decision is that we just want to. I think that's the great time to make the deal. I trust you. Trust me. That at that time the valuation all decreased significantly, and you have the enough time to make the good the choice on those deals. So that's the learning we got. No matter how bad it is, for the early stage, you always have 8 years to wait. So you can just filter all those noise created by the stock market. You just try to focus on the great people, right timing to make judgment on the sector, not on the stock market. The stock market is the reverse. The bad time, the good time to make the investment. But I mean, the timing is not for that angle. The timing is for which in that sector, what is the right timing? I give you an example. For example, like we invest in UC Web in the year 2007. At that time, there's no Android, no iPhone. At that time, Symbian is the dominant, the OS in the smartphone. And we decided to invest in the browser because at that time, the Android and the Symbian is very difficult to serve over internet. So we want to disrupt that, the default, the browser. We launched very, the best user experience in terms of that browser from the mobile browser company. So that company grew very quickly, I remember 3 years, they generate over 200 million, the user base in China. And right now, they already expanded to India, Indonesia, and also Russia. They become kind of a multiple country play. But I mean, so that's in the year 2007. But in the year 2010, we got trouble. I mean, the timing changed because Android and iPhone become, the pervasive. So for UC Web, they have to, shift from the Symbian to the Android. Right now, they are good. They play very well in the Symbian in the Symbian, both Symbian and also Android platform. But I mean, I think it's the right time. We need identify the new opportunity. That's why we bet on Xiaomi. So you can see that in different the timing, the opportunity pop up in the different sectors. I think in the early stage, that's our jobs, and also our challenge is that you have to be out of box thinking. You cannot follow the traditional mentality to make the judgment.
Yeah, I ran into Richard once in Chengdu, totally by surprise. I was there to interview an entrepreneur, and the entrepreneur said, "I think there's somebody here you know," and it turned out it was Richard. So I know he definitely thinks out of the box. Here we are in Chengdu together. But I think Richard's given us an idea of why he's a winner, why he's been on the Forbes Midas list 2 years in a row, and it probably will be again next year. So congratulations, Richard.
Thank you.
Thank you.